Phantom Trap.
What's up, man?
What's good, fam? Drake just made the most desperate move of his career. Not the most controversial, not the most surprising, the most desperate. And what makes this moment even more wild is that he did it right before Kendrick Lamar is about to walk into his city. Not just to perform, but to own the place Drake built his entire image around. While Drake is out here setting up live streams and handing out pizza like a washed up club promoter, Kendrick Lamar is preparing to do something Drake has never done in over a decade of running the six. Headline the biggest venue in the city. This ain't just another beef moment. This is a public humiliation unfolding in real time, and the whole rap game about to watch it play out like a live execution. Now let's get this one thing straight. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't random timing. Kendrick Lamar performing Not Like Us in front of 40,000 people inside the Rogers Center, the same building that Drake's never touched. This is surgical warfare. Drake always loved to say Kendrick didn't get love in Toronto. Always claimed he ran the city. The sixth god, the man of the people, hometown hero. But now, Kendrick pulled up, said nothing, and took the entire city without a tweet, without an interview, without even mentioning Drake's name. That's how deep this goes. Kendrick let the diss tracks fade. He let Drake drop some weak replies, watched him scramble posts, Not Like Us, and stayed silent. And right when the dust settled, he moved in silence and booked the stadium Drake never dared to touch. That's not just a move, that's an Uno reverse on the whole narrative. Now let's get this one thing straight. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't random timing. Kendrick Lamar performing Not Like Us in front of 40,000 people inside the Rogers Center, the same building that Drake's never touched. This is surgical warfare. Drake always loved to say Kendrick didn't get love in Toronto, always claimed he ran the city, the sixth god, the man of the people, hometown hero. But now, Kendrick pulled up, said nothing, and took the entire city without a tweet, without an interview, without even mentioning Drake's name. That's how deep this goes. Kendrick let the diss tracks fade. He let Drake drop some weak replies, watched him scramble posts, Not Like Us, and stayed silent. And right when the dust settled, he moved in silence and booked the stadium Drake never dared to touch. That's not just a move. That's an Uno reverse on the whole narrative. And what's Drake's team doing while this is happening? Are they dropping new music, dropping real statements, putting together a counter tour? Nope. They handing out pizza and OVO hoodies. Like this a FC kick-in pep rally. Real talk. OVO street team out here setting up outside the Rogers Center with stacks of merch and boxes of cheese slices, trying to convince the city that Drake still got pulled. Like people really finna say, yeah, Kendrick bodied the biggest diss in years and just took over the biggest stadium in Canada. But hey, this hoodie crispy though. That's how far they've fallen. This isn't just a weird PR move. It's a full-on confession of defeat. The fact that OVO even felt the need to show face outside Kendrick's show. Not inside, not on the same stage, but outside on the sidewalk, handing out pizza like it's a middle school club fundraiser. Tells you exactly how they feel. They're shook, terrified, and scrambling for anything to make it seem like Drake still holds weight. It's almost sad. Drake, the man who once had Toronto in the palm of his hand, now watching his throne get snatched from the inside, while his crew trying to fight the takeover with hoodies and snacks. And look, if they want to try that, fine, do what you got to do. But what you're not going to do is pretend this moment ain't what it is. Drake's silence, the pizza plays, the lack of music, the weird PR, is all signs of a man who knows he got checkmated and ain't got a next move. And just when you thought OVO couldn't embarrass itself more, here comes Drake announcing a stream with Kai Cenat. Now listen, we all know Kai is one of the biggest streamers in the world right now. His numbers crazy, his influence heavy, but the timing, the placement, the whole energy of it, it reeks of desperation. Drake ain't doing this stream just to have fun. He's doing it because he needs a distraction, fast. Kendrick is about to do the most important show of his tour in Drake's city, performing the very track that obliterated Drake's character on a national scale. And instead of dealing with that moment head on, Drake out here trying to change the subject by hopping on Twitch with the same dude who literally just fanned out over Kendrick. Let's not forget, Kai Cenat just met Kendrick days ago, and the man was starstruck. For real, you could see it in his face. Kai wasn't just giving props, he was in awe. Talking about the awards, the run, the energy, the way he talked about Kendrick, you'd think he just saw a rap god in the flesh. And now Drake, Mr. I'm Too Good to Explain Myself, is suddenly cuddled up next to Kai like a lost little kid trying to get back in the game. That's not a power move. That's a cry for attention. That's a last-ditch attempt to redirect the conversation, to get people talking about something, anything other than Kendrick Lamar turning the Rogers Center into a battlefield. What makes it even worse is how hypocritical it is. Drake's whole career been about control. He's known for cutting people off if they show even the slightest love to Kendrick. People been iced out over tweets, artists unfollowed for just standing next to the wrong person. And now, Drake linking up with Kai, a man who not only praised Kendrick, but also laughed at Drake's expense multiple times on stream. Like, come on, this ain't just a weird look, it's a full-on collapse of everything Drake used to stand on. For a man who prided himself on being above the chaos, above the clout chasing, above the noise, Drake is now neck deep in all of it. Sitting next to the same streamer who just admitted you lost the battle, that's not confidence, that's panic. And yeah, sure, some fans gonna say it's just business, that Drake knows Kai pulls numbers and it's just a smart move. But when you look at the full context, the beef, the timing, the fact that Drake has no real rap allies left and everyone from his own circle either ghosted him or looking funny in the light, nah, this ain't business. This is survival. Drake knows he don't have a verse strong enough to fight Kendrick. He don't got an album ready that can compete with the Grand National Tour. So now he's reaching, holding on to whatever influence or clout he can attach himself to just to feel like he's still in the mix. And again, this is the same man who built his whole persona around being untouchable, who made himself into a myth in Toronto, who said over and over that he gets more love in the six than anyone else. But now in real time, we watching the crowd cheer for Kendrick. The same Kendrick he called an industry puppet. The same Kendrick he said couldn't touch him. And Drake's only response is, Twitch? This is what rock bottom looks like when your ego been too big for too long. Drake out here acting like streaming next to Kai is gonna erase what's coming. But it won't, because no matter how many laughs they force, no matter how many moments they try to go viral with, it's not gonna drown out the sound of 40,000 voices screaming, they not like us, in the middle of the city Drake once ran. And even if that Kai stream pulls numbers, which it probably will, that don't change the fact that this is the most obvious smokescreen we've seen all year. A last-ditch attempt to save face while Kendrick takes the W in front of everybody. Drake's legacy might still have weight, but this moment, this weekend, this belongs to Kendrick. The craziest part in all this, Drake ain't even realizing how bad he look right now. He really think that sitting next to Kai while Kendrick Lamar takes over his city is just a clever little media play. But this ain't media strategy. This is legacy warfare, and Drake is showing he don't got the mindset or the courage to fight back the right way. Because if this was really about music, about bars, about proving he still got it, Drake would have dropped something by now. He would have made a moment with a verse, with a track, with a response that made people stop and say, oh shit, he still got fangs. But instead, he went the full clout route. Instead of speaking through the art, he chasing a viral clip, hoping the timeline talk about the stream instead of the stadium. And that's when you realize Drake ain't just losing to Kendrick, he losing to himself. What we're watching right now is the complete unraveling of a man who spent over a decade carefully crafting his image. Drake was always in control of the narrative. He used social media better than anyone. He controlled when his albums dropped, who he collabed with, who got cut off. He played the puppet master better than almost anyone in this generation. But that's the thing about control. Once you start losing it, you'll do anything to get it back. And that's what this whole Kai Cenat stream really is. Not strategy, not fun, not business. It's a Hail Mary from a man who realizes that Kendrick has now made him the punchline of his own kingdom. And it ain't just the music. It ain't just not like us. It's the whole setup. It's Kendrick picking this exact city, this exact venue, this exact timing, and performing the most viral, most devastating diss track in recent history on the exact soil Drake claimed was his. That's humiliation on a cultural level. This is what happens when you push a real lyricist into a corner and think the fight stops when the song ends. Kendrick didn't just respond to Drake, he outmaneuvered him. And he did it with such precision that even Drake fans are looking around like, yo, we might be watching history flip in real time. Because let's be real, when Kendrick takes that stage, it's bigger than just a concert. It's a message to every artist in the game. It's a message to the city. It's a message to the fans. This ain't just a one-off show. This is Kendrick Lamar walking into enemy territory and making it his own. The same way Jay once performed Takeover at Summer Jam, or how 50 Cent used the mixtape circuit to flip the game. This is one of those hip-hop moments where the battle leaves the booth and hits the streets, and Toronto gonna feel that in their chest. Not just because the diss is loud, but because the symbolism is louder. For the first time in over a decade, the biggest rap moment in Toronto ain't coming from Drake. And that alone, that's legacy shattering. Drake used to be the guy who brought every moment home, who made the 6 the center of the map, who threw OVO Fest and had everybody from Kanye to J. Cole to Rihanna pull up. But now, he on the sideline watching Kendrick do it bigger and arguably better, without needing the cosigns, without needing the antics, and without needing to beg for validation. That's what make this whole thing sting. Kendrick didn't win through scandal. He didn't have to expose some tweet or some DM or some wild allegation. He just rapped better, then he moved better. Then he showed up, quiet, confident, prepared, and booked the biggest stage in the city Drake made famous. And it's not just the size of the stage, it's what Kendrick gonna say on it. Because when Not Like Us hits and them drums drop and that crowd starts chanting line for line, that's not just a performance, that's a funeral. That's the death of whatever invincibility Drake thought he still had. All that energy he had on Tailor-Made Freestyle, talking slick about Kendrick being a puppet, about the industry moving him around like a piece. All that collapses when Kendrick hits that trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor bar in front of a sea of fans in the same city that birthed Drake's brand. And what's wild is there's nothing Drake can do about it. He can't shut it down. He can't get the show canceled. He can't stop the momentum. Even DJ Academics, the biggest Drake defender out there, just met with Kendrick's camp and came out quiet. Even he know this is a rap. And the saddest part is Drake used to be above this. Back in the Take Care days, nothing could touch him. Every move was sharp, every drop was an event. Even during the Meek beef, he controlled the pace. He dictated the rules of engagement. But this time, he came at Kendrick wild, reckless, out of pocket, and Kendrick turned that chaos into control. Drake moved loud, Kendrick moved smart, and that's why we here. That's why we got Drake streaming next to a guy who just admitted he lost, while Kendrick got an entire city about to chant a diss in stadium unison. There's levels to this, and for the first time in a long time, Drake ain't on top of none of them. So let's be real, even if Drake drops another album tomorrow, even if he drops 5 songs next week, even if he drops a verse that goes viral on every platform, none of it erases what this Toronto show is about to do. Because when Kendrick performs Not Like Us in that stadium, it becomes more than just a track. It becomes history. It becomes the moment the world saw Kendrick not just win a beef, but win over a city that wasn't supposed to be his. Drake talked legacy for years, talked about being the GOAT. But real legacy, that comes from moments like this. Moments where the music, the message, and the moment align. And that's what Kendrick did. So no matter how many clips Drake and Kai try to pump out, no matter how many fans OVO tries to bribe with free food and merch, no matter how much the timeline tries to debate who's still the bigger name, the culture knows who really won. It ain't even about streaming numbers or chart placements anymore. It's about presence. It's about control. It's about who really got the city behind them when the pressure's on. And right now, that crown don't sit on the 6 guys' head no more. Kendrick Lamar took that quietly, cleanly, permanently. So if you tuned in right now hoping to see if Drake was gonna bounce back, I hate to break it to you, this ain't a comeback arc. This is the end of an era. The curtain's closing, the spotlight's moving, and for the first time since he blew up, Drake looking like a guest in the house he built. And Kendrick just became the landlord. Let the record show, on the night Kendrick Lamar played the Rogers Center, hip-hop watched the king get crowned and another one get humbled. That's the truth, and everybody saw it. Now go ahead and stream that Kai Cenat video if you want, but just know that she was never gonna save him.